What's up, guys? This is MWIII, and welcome to Borealis Camo in Modern Warfare 3. What the f- I just recently unlocked Borealis Camo on Modern Warfare 3. I didn't want to rush through it, but I also did want to get it before the new year started, so I challenged myself. And you guys might have seen that recently I did a really big stream on YouTube. It was literally titled Streaming Until I Unlock Borealis Camo, so if you guys want to check out the VOD, there were some pretty hilarious and insane moments that happened on that stream, so if you guys want to check it out, you know what to do. But for this video specifically, I do want to go over some tips and tricks on how to get Borealis Camo in Modern Warfare 3 pretty fast, because even though I didn't rush through and try to get the camo unlocked as fast as possible, there's definitely some really helpful advice I learned along the way that will help you guys speed it up. But if I go to my stats over here, you'll see how much time I have played on multiplayer and zombies. We got 5 days on multiplayer, roughly 2.5 days or so on zombies. It didn't actually take that long to get either of the camos. Obviously, a lot of this time was spent doing some other things on both zombies and multiplayer. It was pretty fast though. But I'm gonna switch over to zombies right here, and I do want to give you guys some really helpful tips and tricks and advice on how you guys can get Borealis Camo faster if you're still working towards it, or even if you think you're not going for the camo right now, but you might later, you're still going to want to use this advice. First and foremost, for Modern Warfare zombies, I would actually recommend doing the story missions before even going for the camo. Right off the bat, if you complete the entirety of Act 1, you'll get an extra insured weapon slot, which allows you to grind and level up and go for camos on 2 weapons at a time instead of going for 1 and then trying to loot like a wall buy or going to the random box to try to rank up your guns or go for camos on them. It's just so much more random when you do it that way. Now, obviously, if you're trying to min-max going for camos, then you would just focus on camos, but I really do think that doing the story missions and completing the acts is arguably more important than just trying to go for camos right off the bat. For Act 1, I believe you get the uncommon Aether tool and the quick revive recipe, which are not like that amazing, but it's kind of helpful. But what's really important and actually really useful is when you're going to play zombies, typically you only have 1 insured slot. But if you're doing the story missions, if you're completing the acts, you can get up to 3 insured slots, which I have all 3 right now. Ironically enough, I didn't have any of these insured slots for most of the camo grind, and it probably wasted a good chunk of time. I could have potentially saved more time with the camo grind if I did at least Act 1 first and then started going for Borealis. So that is like my biggest tip to anyone who's going for this camo. At a bare minimum, at least complete Act 1 and then start your camo grinds, and, you know, potentially even consider doing 2 and 3 as well. At the current moment for Modern Warfare Zombies, Act 4 is more of like endgame stuff, I feel like. I know it's not like potentially the end of zombies, like the end of the game, but the types of rewards that you can get in Act 4 is really end game stuff for the mode, and you don't really need it for the camo grind. Because you see, if we go in reverse order and we start with Serpentinite camo, for every single gun, you just have to kill 10 special or elite zombies, and honestly, it's not that difficult. I'm terrified! Now, at the current time of recording this video, you can just go to a tier 1 exfil in zombies, and you can just farm manglers over and over again. That's actually, you know, the majority of what I did for that 6-hour stream, because realistically, that's all you need to do at the current moment in order to get this done quickly and efficiently. And what's really nice about this is that you don't necessarily need to pack a punch your weapons. You don't really need perks. All you have to do is go to tier 1 exfils and kill the manglers. So that is like the most efficient way to get Serpentinite unlocked right now. Obviously, you could go and do some harder difficulty stuff, especially if you have some buddies to play with who can drop you things. So you could do tier 2 stuff or even tier 3 stuff instead. But if you are a solo player and you don't have a lot of schematics or upgrades that you can bring into the match, then tier 1 exfil is definitely the way to go. My third major tip, and this is for Zircon scale camo and how to get that unlocked very quickly. For every gun that you need to use, you have to get 300 kills while the gun is pack-a-punch. So what's the best advice for that? Now, I'm pretty sure this part of it's going to come down to RNG, but ideally you would have the raw Ethereum crystal schematic, which I did end up getting, I think, roughly halfway into the Zircon scale camo grinds, but this really just made it so much faster because every 8 hours, you could just craft a free pack-a-punch. So typically what I would do in this scenario is I would bring in this free pack, use it on the first gun, and then go complete a couple contracts, and then just buy the pack-a-punch for the second weapon I was using, and then you could just exfil and pretty much rinse and repeat. And you can still do that now and basically rinse and repeat. Now, obviously there's an 8-hour cooldown on the crystal and there's no way to speed that up, which I think is a little goofy. I really do wish there was a way to reduce the crafting cooldown for basically everything in the game when you have successful exfils, but that's just, you know, just a suggestion. I don't want to complain too much in this video. We're just trying to go over the camos and stuff. But yeah, man, having any of the Ethereum crystals, whether it's the raw, refines, or even the flawless one, if you can get access to all 3 of these especially, then you can get through Zircon scale way faster. But that does require grinding a lot more contracts, and especially for the flawless crystal, I believe you have to go to the Dark Aether Rift, which is tier 4. But let's say you don't have any of these schematics. What are you gonna do? If that's the scenario, then I would still try to bring in 2 insured weapons. Right off the bat, just try to knock out at least 2 tier 1 contracts, pack-a-punch the first weapon, and then as far as it goes for grinding out those 300 kills, with how things are currently balanced in zombies, there's 3 different things I would recommend for getting getting those 300 kills really fast. You can grind tier 1 exfils, which will give you, a decent amount of zombies, but what's currently even better than doing that is doing tier 1 outlast contracts and just farming the zombies because they spawn over and over again. It's pretty consistent. Or there's the third option where you take a spore contract and you destroy the first 4 out of the 6 spores, and then you put down the inhibitors on the last 2, and you can just farm the zombies from there, and that's a pretty efficient way to get the 300 kills pretty fast. But next up is my 4th tip, and this is for Golden Enigma and all of the base camos going into this before we even get started. I know I was backtracking with Serpentinite and Zircon scale, but that's really just because those are easy, and it's quicker and easier to explain how to get through those faster. But what about Golden Enigma? I feel like this is really tricky because now it boils down to what type of player are you? Are you someone who's only going to be playing zombies, or do you mostly play multiplayer but you want to get the zombies camo? My first piece of advice, if you're someone who is mostly going to be playing multiplayer or Warzone but you want to get Borealis Camo in zombies and then bring it over to there, is to level up all of your guns first on your preferred mode, whether that's multiplayer or Warzone. Go play that first. Try to play during double XP weekends, especially the ones that have double weapon XP, or even use your double weapon XP tokens and try to get all of your guns maxed out first. Because when all of your weapons are maxed out, you can immediately go for all 4 of the base camos at once, and then all you have to do is exfil with the weapon, and you will unlock Golden Enigma because when it says here, get 100 kills and then extract with the weapon, you're typically going to be doing all of these challenges in one match. In order to maximize how fast you unlock the base camos first, and then also you can just get Golden Enigma once you extract with the weapon. That is the fastest way to get it done. But if you're someone who only plays zombies and you just want Borealis Camo and you're not going to play multiplayer or Warzone, then you've got some serious XP to grind. So let's go over some of the best ways to do that. Funny enough, that's going to bring us right back to the Zircon scale tip, which is to grind tier 1 exfils, tier 1 outlast contracts, or also tier 1 spore contracts, because you can just farm zombies so quickly and efficiently, and that will get you a lot of weapon XP. But let's say you don't want to do all of that mind-numbing grinding and just shooting endless amounts of zombies over and over again. The next best thing that I would recommend that you try to do is just farm contracts as much as you possibly can. It doesn't really matter what zone it's in. In this scenario, you could mostly just farm tier 1 contracts because there's a lot of very useful schematics that you can get by farming tier 1. You could also go to tier 2 if you're comfortable doing that solo. And hey, you could also grind tier 3 contracts as well, but it's going to be significantly more difficult, especially if you're playing solo and if you don't have really good upgrades. But every single time you complete a contract, you're getting a very big boost of XP, and that does go into your weapon as well, which will help give you more weapon XP and level up your guns fast. Now, in fairness, if you're someone who's only playing Modern Warfare 3 zombies, then you probably already know what you have to do to rank up the weapons fast, so it really shouldn't be that difficult. Honestly, I've kind of lost track as to which number of tip this is, but this is another very useful tip that will really help you guys out on the zombie camo grinds, and I will link this in the description. This is Galactical Wolf's zombie camo guide from Reddit. This was extremely helpful with organization and being able to know exactly what I've completed on zombies so far. All you have to do is download the Google Doc and then create a copy of it so you can edit it, so that way you can kind of check everything off. Now, obviously, you could create your own spreadsheet or your own Google Doc if you wanted to, but I just found this one. It was super useful, super helpful. And the reason why having all of this organization is really useful and necessary is because when it comes to Modern Warfare zombies, there's a couple of hurdles you have to get over when it comes to the camo grind and how to stay on top of tracking things, because the game itself, at least at the current moment, I really hope they do consider adding this or fixing this for Modern Warfare 3 zombies, but when you're in the game, you can't see how many kills you currently have. Same thing goes for headshots and also how much essence you currently have, especially when it comes to having a full scoreboard with your squad as well. You can't see how many kills or headshots or points they have as well. Now, I'm pretty sure on the UI you can see the current amount of essence that everyone has, but you can't track your kills, you can't track your headshots, so having some kind of document or spreadsheet or note is pretty much almost required to stay on top of tracking your camos when you're going for things. Honestly, it would be so much more convenient if we could go to the camo menu and just choose to track a certain amount of challenges, maybe 3 or 4 at a time, so that way you could see how your progress is going when you're playing a match. That would be an extremely useful and helpful quality of life update. I don't know if Modern Warfare 3 zombies is going to get it, but potentially for a future Call of Duty game, I think that would be a great improvement and change to have. Even though it really is just an old feature of older Call of Duty games and stuff, but you know what I'm saying? Round-based zombies has pretty much always had the ability to see how many kills and headshots and points you have by pulling up a scoreboard, but we don't have that in this game, which does make tracking more difficult. So yeah, just stay organized in whatever way that you can. But JDs and gentlemen, this is my final tip for going for Borealis Camo in Modern Warfare 3 zombies, and that is to take a break. What the f? You guys need to trust me on this, because in my Twitch chat when I was streaming zombies, and even in YouTube chat recently when I was streaming zombies, there are so many people. I see it every single time I was camo grinding. Everyone is saying that they're getting burnt out on playing zombies, they are tired of going for the camo already, and that it's just mind-numbing and tedious and repetitive and stuff like that, which is exactly why I'm sharing this tip. I unlocked Interstellar Camo in multiplayer for Modern Warfare 3 a little over a month ago, and when I went for that camo, I was going pretty hard for it. I obviously had some other things to do, so I didn't go like immediately into camo grinding, but if you're someone that knows that they're gonna get burnt out on just the repetitive grind of going for zombies camos on this game, you need to be able to take a break. Whether that's going back to multiplayer and trying some stuff out, or going to play Warzone, or God forbid, touching some grass, it is good to take a breather, to take a break and relax, and then come back to it once you're ready to go. Even though it's a camo grind, that doesn't mean that you have to grind it. It doesn't have to be something that is just like this painful, tedious, annoying grind. It doesn't have to be that way if you pace things out. And I'm sure that's rich coming from someone that just taught you all of the fastest ways to get things done, but you don't have to do it that way. That's just the best possible advice that I can give you. When it comes to Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, there actually is some decent replay value, and the mode is a lot of fun to play. But if you're trying to cram unlocking Borealis Camo into like 2 or 3 days, then yeah, it's not going to be that fun. For me personally, I've been casually chipping away at the challenges and unlocking camos over the last month or so, which is roughly how long it took to get the camo done at an average sort of pace. There were days where I would unlock multiple camos in one sitting, and then days where I would do nothing. Well, not literally doing nothing, but I wouldn't be camo grinding. Like, I wouldn't be going for Borealis Camo and trying to do the zombies camos, you know what I'm saying? There were days where I'd just be playing multiplayer, or I wouldn't even be playing COD for that day, you know? There's no need to overly stress yourself out over a camo that looks like a moving piece of ice cream. I promise you will get this camo unlocked if you just kind of chip away at the challenges over time, and just be smart about what you're doing. For example, it would not be wise to take the Cat AMR Sniper into the tier 3 zone and try to no-scope the Mega Abomination. You will most likely die and not get anything done. But instead, if you take my tips and tricks and you put them into practice, I really do believe that you can chip away at Borealis Camo either really quickly or, you know, do it slowly over time, and you will still get it done pretty fast without losing your mind. But yeah, that's gonna do it for my tips and tricks on how to get Borealis Camo fast. Now let's actually check it out to see if you even like the camo and if you'd want to grind for it in the first place. So right off the bat, I'm gonna put us on a map that chat recommended, which is MWIII. They were saying that this map is really good for showing off Borealis Camo, and I could not agree more. Immediately, you can see how much more bright and vibrant Borealis Camo is on this map. Now, I think it's because of the cloudy weather, because if we look up, this is more or less what it looks like on most maps, but I don't know if it's just the lighting or something like that, but the second we look down, it gets so much more bright and vibrant, and honestly, the camo just looks incredible. I know some people say it looks like ice cream, but if that's the case, this is some of the most delicious looking ice cream I've seen. And this example right here is just a Cat AMR with no attachments, but if we swap to this is a DG58 LSW LMG, which has the aftermarket part, which just makes the gun look insane. I mean, look at this. You can barely see the typical Borealis Camo on the gun. It only really covers the sight and like the magazine, and I think the underbarrel attachment that I have as well. When you look up like this, it really turns dark, and as you look down, it brightens up to blue so well. I mean, it's just such an amazing reactive camo. This is one of the first things I do whenever I unlock camos like this, is I like to go on different maps and try to see what it looks like in different scenarios. I might do a couple more in this video, but obviously I'm going to be putting Borealis Camo on a lot more of my guns so you guys can see what it looks like in just like typical gameplay. And since we're here showing it off, I'll also answer the question that I get asked all the time, which is, what do I think about the Modern Warfare 3 Mastery Camos? And honestly, I think they're some of the best we've had. My only potential gripe with the Mastery Camos in the game is that Borealis Camo and Interstellar Camo are pretty similar. They're not that different from each other necessarily. They're both space and galaxy themed kind of camos, kind of similar to Dark Matter from Black Ops 3. Between the two camos, I think for multiplayer, Interstellar Camo is probably better to use because you're not going to stand out as much when you're holding the weapons. But purely in terms of looks, I do prefer Borealis Camo. I think it is the nicer of the two. Definitely a lot flashier, but I think that's why I like it. It's a very vibrant and awesome looking camo. I think Interstellar Camo is definitely the more subtle of the two, and it's probably more suited in multiplayer, whereas you could use Borealis Camo in zombies and it's going to be bright and flashy, but that's not really going to distract from anything because you're playing zombies. We're already used to having super bright and vibrant pack-a-punch camos when you pack weapons in zombies, so this is really not all that different. Now, obviously, you could use an aftermarket part like this and have a Mastery Camo, and it's going to be really hard to tell. Like, people might think that you actually bought this in the store. But yeah, I think going forward when it comes to Mastery Camos for multiplayer and zombies, I think it would be nice if they were a little bit more differentiated from each other, because these are both space and galaxy themed Mastery Camos. Obviously, both camos have their differences and similarities, but I think they could probably be more differentiated from each other going forward. But real quick, before we wrap up this video, there's some other really big topics that I want to address and talk about when it comes to Mastery Camos in these new Call of Duty games. As you guys might know, Modern Warfare 2 guns have also carried forward into Modern Warfare 3. And if I equip the RPG, you'll see that I have the Mastery Camos from last year. This was the multiplayer Mastery Camo, but we can now retroactively grind for Zombies Mastery Camos on here as well, and the final Mastery Camo for Modern Warfare 2 guns is Bioluminescent. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this camo looks pretty amazing as well. I do like this Mastery Camo, but I'm not too sure if I'm gonna be doing this because, first off, I just unlocked Borealis Camo, and I don't know if I want to jump right back into Zombies grinding. I might do it at some point. I really don't know. It's not like it's gonna be overly difficult, especially because I'm starting to grind for unlocking schematics and finishing the story missions and stuff, so it really would actually be easier. Really, the only hurdle is the amount of guns you have to do. You have to do at least 51 Modern Warfare 2 guns in order to finally get Bioluminescent Camo once you're at the end. And we will talk about this some more, but first I want to throw us into a game of war so I can actually be playing the game using Borealis Camo while talking about some other really interesting topics as well. And this next one I want to talk about is really a major problem, a major issue with the Mastery Camos in this game, and it's probably going to remain an issue unless they take this feedback into account. The final secret Mastery Camo.
You get nothing! You lose!
Similar to last year with Modern Warfare 2, once you actually unlocked the Mastery Camos, you could do a second set of challenges, where with every weapon in the game, you'd have to get 100 kills with Gold Camo, 200 kills with Platinum Camo, 300 with Polyatomic, and then 400 with Orion Camo, and then you would unlock Mastery Charms. And back then for Modern Warfare 2, when you completed every single weapon's mastery, you would get the Modern Warfare 2 Grand Mastery Weapon Charm. And I'm just gonna be straight up honest with you, I think that is the dumbest possible reward you could get for putting in that much time and effort, for grinding and putting all of that effort into a game. That is just sad. It would be so much more rewarding and satisfying if you would get a secret hidden camo for doing all of these mastery challenges. That would be incredible, and it needs to happen in Call of Duty. No more of this grinding for pathetic little tiny weapon charms. It's just not worth it. And even though there are hardcore players who will put in that time and effort to do it, that doesn't necessarily mean that they are happy or satisfied with the reward they're getting. They're just doing it because they don't have anything else to play towards. We don't have classic prestige mode in Call of Duty. When it comes to grinding Call of Duty games nowadays, we can't just keep prestiging and leveling up and having to rework towards things. That's just not a thing anymore. So when you run out of things to do, you either just have to play the game, or if you want to grind, well, we have the Mastery Camo grind, which obviously rewards you with Mastery Camos. But after that, when you do all of the other Mastery challenges, that just gets you weapon charms. And honestly, it's just disappointing. The main reason I only really had my mindset on completing Interstellar and Borealis is because when they add new DLC guns to the game, I can also go for the Mastery Camos on those new guns. That same principle does not apply to the Modern Warfare 2 weapons because we're not getting any new Modern Warfare 2 weapons. So that has really lowered my incentive to want to go for Bioluminescence for Modern Warfare 2 guns. And since there isn't some kind of hidden or secret Mastery Camo for doing all of these challenges and getting all of the Mastery weapon charms and stuff, that just gives me even less of an incentive to want to try to go for this stuff. Now, this is just my take, but I really think for Modern Warfare 3, they should not try to retroactively add this because that's just going to be so frustrating for so many players. People would have treated this game very different and played it differently if this camo was in the game from day 1 versus, you know, like day 500. Obviously, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but still, people would like to be able to go for stuff like this the second the game is out. So I think this concept of having a final Mastery Camo that is hidden in secret for when you complete everything in the game, I think at this point it should be reserved for a future game. It's unfortunately too late for Modern Warfare 3, but I'd love to see this be a feature in upcoming games. When it comes to Mastery Camos in Call of Duty, the first game that really pushed the boundaries was Black Ops 3. We weren't told anything about Dark Matter Camo before the game came out. I'm pretty sure back then people were grinding for gold and diamond camo on Black Ops 3, and then when you unlocked everything in the game, you were just silently rewarded with Dark Matter Camo. We didn't even really know it was in the game. It was just something that was secretly in the game, and Treyarch did not announce it beforehand, which just makes it that much more exciting. It's an amazing surprise, and we need more stuff like that in COD games. That element of surprise is so much more memorable versus, you know, having them tell us exactly what is in the game. That is just my opinion, but I wanted to share it with you guys. I just think it's so much more exciting when we don't know exactly what we're getting, but if you work hard towards it and you play the game a lot, you'll be rewarded, and you just kind of have to trust the process. Now, this next thing I want to talk about could be a little bit of a hot take, but I want you guys to just hear me out. I think it would be interesting if Warzone had Mastery Camos as well. And the main reason I'm saying that's a hot take is because Warzone is free to play. So honestly, these camos are kind of like part of the premium paid experience. You pay money for multiplayer and zombies, and then you actually have a really cool camo to work towards that could really only be unlocked in multiplayer and zombies. Although I'm kind of forgetting if you can work towards camos in Warzone. I don't think you can though. And ultimately, we know that Interstellar Camo right here, this is a multiplayer camo. Borealis Camo right here is a zombies camo. But we don't really have like a Warzone Mastery Camo, you know? Now, obviously, this would be extremely difficult to implement in terms of like figuring out what the challenges would be, because people play Warzone very differently than how people play, you know, multiplayer and zombies. Maybe you'd have to complete a certain amount of contracts with a gun. Maybe you'd have to get a certain amount of kills. And then maybe the final challenge is you have to actually win a match while using that gun. I mean, that would be insane. That could add a lot of depth and replay value to Warzone if it's done correctly. So just imagine this as an example. I'm not saying it's going to actually happen, but what if for next year's Call of Duty game, Treyarch's Black Ops Gulf War game that's rumored rumored to be COD 2024, right? Since the game's most likely gonna have multiplayer and zombies and Warzone, what if there were 3 different mastery camos you could go for on each mode, and then once you unlock all 3 of those, you would either be granted a final mastery camo or a set of final mastery camo challenges that you'd have to do on all 3 modes to get a secret camo. That would be insane. I really do feel strongly that that would be the best way to go about this moving forward. Every single type of player can have mastery camos to work towards, and there will be a final secret camo that is not disclosed. Like, they don't say what it is or what it's gonna look like, but all of us know in the back of our heads that we can go for something like that. That once you put in all of that time and effort, you will be rewarded with some kind of final mastery secret camo. That would be absolutely awesome. I think it's the best possible way they could handle the mastery camos, and that would be so exciting to see. But those are just my thoughts and my suggestions, and I definitely want to hear from you guys. What do you think about the mastery camos in Modern Warfare 3? And definitely let me know in the comments if you'd like to see a Warzone mastery camo or even just like a final secret mastery camo in the next COD game. Hey, we got to end it on a win too. Nice. But with that being said, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video fully breaking down Borealis Camo in Modern Warfare 3. If you guys did enjoy this video and you'd like to watch me lose my sanity going for Bioluminescent Camo next, make sure to drop a like. I'll see you guys later.
Outcome, Triangle.